there was a guy, let's say he was 55 years old. There was a woman who was 19, and she had a lower IQ. But she was considered an adult and functional member of society. And he was online, and they're both adults, and she was consenting, and he was having sex with her. Would you find that to be an appropriate relationship?
I mean, I think 19 is pretty young, and I really don't like engaging with anyone under 21 in terms of that anyway.
Okay,
so,
she's 21.
Yeah, I mean, repeat the question again?
Do you think that if she's kind of under average IQ, but she's still a functional member of society, she's still an adult, she's still consenting, right? She can consent to a car loan, she can consent to a cell phone bill, right? Do you have any issues with this guy taking advantage of her for sex?
I mean, I think it's fucked up. You're 55 years old
Well,
trying
why? But
to...
that's his kink. He likes to take advantage
But that's
of
like...
21-year-old girls and have sex, but he likes it. It gets him off. It's his favorite.
That's
So what's the
different.
problem? Oh, it is. What's different about
I mean, you just said that she has a lower IQ, so I mean...
I think that this guy who sends you enough money to bankrupt himself has a high IQ?
I mean, he has a good job, so...
So the point is, though, is that she's still a consenting adult. It's not his responsibility to worry about her IQ, right?
I mean, I guess you make a fair point. Again, I don't really care.
But in that case, do you think he should care?
Sure, if he wants to care, then care.
You
But
don't think that that's
again,
a double standard?
I mean, I've talked to him for 6 months now, more than that, longer than that. And we've had, personal conversations. We've had kink-based conversations. And when he tells me he doesn't have money to send, I don't make him send it. So, and he'll send me like a small amount or something for coffee.
So
when
imagine
he's
this
broke.
going back the other direction of, yeah, he's 50, and she's a little bit low IQ, but she's a consenting adult. It's not for him to worry about whether or not she's under IQ or not, because she can consent, right? She can consent. And so, the thing is he just doesn't really worry about what might happen to her as a position of him sleeping with this woman who is 21 while he's 50, or 19 while he's 50, and who has a lower than average IQ. He just shouldn't worry about it because she can consent. Does that sound reasonable to you?
I mean, it's a different situation. Again, you have a baseline conversation when you accept a submissive into your life. You go over terms and conditions.
Yep, he did that. He's like, look, I don't give a shit about your IQ. I just want to have sex with you. And she's like, okay.
Jayavanik donated $200. Not sure if Redhead's too stupid to understand the depth of her evil, or she doesn't just likes it.
Okay.
I encourage viewers to pray for her, but more importantly, her victims, as she's a literal predator.
Yeah, so let's go through this.
Yeah.
So they agree to this. They've agreed. They're both
There's
consenting.
one more coming in, just FYI. Sorry, guys. One sec. We're letting the TTS come through.
John Slater, 1990, donated $200. Hey, Brian, just wanted to drop you some support. You get
Thank
a
you,
lot
John.
of hate, but you're a good guy and one of the few who advocate for men.
Oh, thank you,
deal
man.
with a lot, both on and off the show. So
true.
cheers to you.
John Slater, thank you for the TTS, man. Also, Giovanni, thank you for the TTS. Yeah, a lot of stuff goes on behind the scenes, that we don't really talk about. But thank you, John Slater. Really appreciate your support. Thank you, man. Go ahead, Andrew.
So anyway, yeah, so they both consent. So that part, they had the conversation. They're both consenting. She is an adult. She is a functional member of society. She's just kind of dumb.
Okay, I mean...
Not his responsibility, right?
Don't dumb people need sex too, though?
Okay, fair.
No responsibility,
enough,
right?
but-
Mentally ill people need to get some.
I mean,
But
again, I'm a
would that
financial
give you-
dominatrix, so obviously I have some responsibility in it. But again, I'm not sitting there forcing them. I'm not.
Neither is he in this
I'm not
situation.
approaching them like they approach me.
So imagine a guy saying this exact same thing.
But he's a
I
man.
didn't force her.
How's
I'm
that
not
different,
telling
though?
her she has to. I'm not doing any of that. She's consensually at 21 with her low IQ sleeping with me. What's the problem here?
He's a man taking advantage, and he's 55. And he has.
He's taking advantage. Are you taking advantage?
I mean, sure, you could look at it like that.
So then I don't see how you can make the moral equivalent, say he's doing something wrong, if you would not accept that you yourself also are doing something wrong.
Do you think
No, I
that-
think she accepts that she's doing something wrong.
That's I want to hear from her.
Oh, okay.
Sure, I accept that I'm doing something wrong.
Okay.
But she doesn't care.
Yeah, it doesn't care.
Doesn't.
Well, it can't be
doesn't care.
quotes if you actually do think that, right? Then it's not wrong. It would just be wrong, right?
Sure.
Okay.
I have a question. Do you like continue the relationships if they're not paying?
I
Or is
mean,
it-
like,
'cause you're saying it's not forced. You're not forcing them to pay, but then
No,
do you
no.
continue talking to them if they're not paying?
I mean, if they've sent a good amount, like they're my submissive and I've taken them on as that, then sure, I'll talk to them.
All right.
What do you think society would say to a guy who was openly having a relationship like that with a 21-year-old? How do you think they would judge him? Just society in general.
They would tar and feather him. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, what do you think they would do?
I think a big factor to consider in the hypothetical situation is the age gap, because like, what's the age gap between you and this guy?
He's like 47 and I'm 26.
Okay, that's something to consider.
Still
at
a
least.
massive age gap.
Yeah.
But the question still, I'm just asking, what do you think the perception would be?
I already said it would be a bad
It would
perception.
be a bad perception. Why do you think it would be that way?
Because men have a bad reputation for a good reason.
Well, I mean, I literally have not heard yet a man, not once yet, tell me that they have teetered women on the brink of financial ruin and they don't give a shit. I have not heard that one time. But I have heard this story that you're telling me dozens of times on this show.
Yeah, I think you're omitting the fact, though, that, again, it's a kink and I'm being approached and this is what I do. Like,
Yeah, but in that case, it would just be a kink.
there's plenty of kinks out there that people would view as taboo and wrong, and people still do them anyway.
Yeah, I know, but that doesn't mean that they're correct. So this idea of saying, well, it doesn't matter because it's a kink, though. It's
What is correct
well, if we
to you,
apply that to
though?
them,
I mean, I think correct is a very subjective word.
do you
Like,
think that morality itself is subjective?
I mean, yeah.
Well, then if morality itself is subjective, then why would you ever get mad about what anybody ever does at any time, at any place, anywhere?
Sure.
Like a serial killer. What's wrong with that? Subjective. Subjective.
I mean, you're reaching right now,
Why?
but
Is it subjective or objective?
I mean, a serial killer, like,
I mean, yeah,
they're-
serial killers. It's subjective or objective? If it's all subjective and it's all just moral relativism, then you could never make a judgment, a value judgment on a serial killer being bad, because that's just relative, right?
Sure.
So then, yeah, I don't really know this idea of it's subjective. It doesn't mean much to me. That just means you're saying that there is no standard for morality at all, when clearly you don't think that.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, you wouldn't say, you'd say it's okay to be a serial killer, right?
I mean, I think we all know the answer to that. It's not okay to be a serial killer.
Why not? If it's just subjective.
Because it's morally wrong. Like, and
So then-
these are my morals. So
So, but from
everyone
there-
has different values.
So if it's just your morals versus their morals, subjective, then from his standard, the serial killer, they're not doing anything wrong, right?
Well, he's a serial killer. Obviously, he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. He's doing it.
So you have no standard from which to say he's doing anything immoral, right?
I'm not.
Negative
You're
underscore 200 donated $200. Yellow top kinda looks like a Scargian. Look it up.
Like a what? I don't know what that is. Tell me more.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure what that is. Is that like a Star Wars thing or something? I don't know.
I'd love to respond if I knew.
I don't know. A couple other clarifying things here, but I do want to get everybody's relationship status. You do describe yourself as evil on your link tree.
No, that can't be true. That's subjective. Subjective.
You also refer to yourself as Empress Lucia, and Goddess Lucia.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you explain the Empress and the Goddess part?
I mean, it's a title,
Also
an
princess.
honorific.
Also
Yeah,
princess,
princess.
femdom princess.
Yes. It's just an honorific that everyone in the community uses. They pick which one they like. I started out as goddess. I decided I wanted to change it up, make it empress. I liked the sound of it, and that's about it.
But do you consider yourself like a goddess, just generally speaking?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. And then also on your Twitter, it says, I heart exploiting your desires and reveling in your tears.
Yes.
It's just like an essay on how to write "I'm an awful human being." It's just like,
Sure, if that's what you
like
wanna think.
everything that's stated
But it's
here.
a kink.
Can I ask
got
a question?
me.
Do you enjoy like the money aspect of it, or do you genuinely enjoy what you do?
I
Like,
enjoy
like,
the money aspect of it, and I think it's funny. Like, I think it's fun. I have a great time doing it. I mean, all my friends get a good laugh out of it. I get a good laugh out of it. And there's days where I'm having a bad day, and my sub just wants to punch himself in the balls.
When
So-
you
And you
say
enjoy watching that though.
It's funny, yeah.
when you say you get a laugh out of it, what do you mean?
Like when they
you
do-
laugh at them?
When they do humiliation stuff, yeah, it's funny. And they encourage me to laugh at them. They love my laugh.
Okay.